The very first chapter of Chinese history hides 7 figures more extraordinary than myth. The 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors. They weren't emperors in the traditional sense, but tribal leaders of early human society. Yet history honors them as the founding fathers of Chinese civilization. Today, let's walk through the timeline and see what these 7 legendary figures actually did to shape the world. The 3 sovereigns lived between 4,000 and 10,000 years ago, during the Neolithic era. Their stories read less like legend and more like humanity's earliest survival guide. Before Shun, humans weren't much different from wild animals. We ate raw meat, drank blood, and shivered through every winter. Then one day, Shun was walking through the forest when lightning struck a tree, bursting it into flames. Every animal fled, but he didn't. He crouched by the fire, felt the warmth on his hands, and had an idea. Fire would always die out on its own. So he spent days studying stones, until he figured out how to create fire by drilling wood. Fire on demand, anytime, anywhere. That single discovery changed everything. Humans could cook food, stay warm, and scare off predators. Life expectancy doubled. For this, Shun is honored as the first of the 3 sovereigns, the man who lit the flame of civilization. After Shun came Fuxi, the next great tribal leader. Humans had fire now, but life was still chaotic. No family structure, no rules, no way to make sense of the natural world. Fuxi changed that with 3 monumental contributions. First, he established the concept of marriage. He declared that men and women must be joined through proper union, and he invented family names to prevent inbreeding. The birth of social order. Second, he created the 8 trigrams. Legend says he watched a dragon horse rise from the Yellow River, its back marked with mysterious patterns, and a divine tortoise emerged from the Low River, its belly covered in ancient symbols. Studying these, he drew the 8 trigrams, a system using yin and yang to explain the workings of heaven and earth. It was China's earliest philosophy, the seed of everything from Taoism to traditional medicine. Third, he invented fishing nets and the bow and arrow, ensuring his people would never go hungry again. Later generations said Fuxi opened the heavens, meaning he unlocked humanity's ability to understand the world. Hunting was fine when prey was plentiful, but when the animals disappeared, people starved. Shennong looked at this problem and thought, we can't keep depending on luck. So he turned to plants. Legend says he personally tasted 70 toxic herbs in a single day, surviving only because tea leaves counteracted the poison, which may explain why the Chinese have been drinking tea for thousands of years. Through relentless trial and error, he identified edible crops, millet, rice, wheat, and taught people how to farm, how to break the earth, plant seeds, and harvest. Humanity entered the agricultural age. He also invented the plow, and in studying plants, discovered which ones could heal, making him the founding father of traditional Chinese medicine. His tribe later merged with the Yellow Emperors, forming the core of the Chinese nation. That's why we call ourselves descendants of Yan and Wang. Yan referring to Shennong, the Flame Emperor. The 5 emperors lived roughly 4,000 to 5,000 years ago, in the late Neolithic period. By now, there were many tribes. And where there are many tribes, there is war. Wangdi was a tribal leader who came after Shennong. To the south, a fierce people called the Zhuli tribe were led by Qiu, a warlord who had mastered bronze armor and chemical warfare, and terrorized neighboring tribes. The Flame Emperor couldn't stop him, so he turned to Wangdi for help. What followed was the Battle of Juelu, the first large-scale war in Chinese history. Qiu summoned wind and rain through his shamans. Wangdi countered with his commanders, and used the south-pointing chariot, history's earliest compass, to navigate through the storm and locate Qiu's forces. Qiu was defeated and killed. Wangdi then turned to the Flame Emperor's tribe, defeated them too, and merged the 2 peoples into one. This is the origin of the Waxia people, the ancient Chinese nation. But Wangdi wasn't just a warrior. He led a golden age of invention. His wife Lizu discovered silk and taught people to raise silkworms and weave fabric. His minister Kangji created Chinese characters. And legend says the day writing was born. Grain rained from the sky and ghosts wept through the night. Because once humans had writing, they could no longer be easily deceived. Music, mathematics, medicine, the lunar calendar. All traced back to this era. It was the great explosion of Chinese civilization. After Huangdi, his grandson Zhuangxu took power. He found society sliding back into chaos. People consulting shamans for everything. Religious rituals overwhelming practical work. His solution was bold. He issued a decree separating the divine from the human. Gods would be managed by gods. People would be managed by people. Ordinary citizens were forbidden from conducting religious rituals. He redirected society's energy back to farming and governance, and expanded the empire southward into the Yangtze River basin, consolidating everything Huangdi had built. Zhuangxu's nephew emperor took a quieter approach. Rather than conquest, he focused on daily life and long-term stability. The biggest problem of the era: nobody knew when to plant or harvest. Ku assigned officials to study the heavens and created China's first proper calendar, dividing the year into 4 seasons, setting 366 days in a year, and adding a leap month every few years to correct the drift. Farmers finally knew: plant in spring, harvest in autumn. Crop yields soared. Ku was also known for his fairness, treating all tribes equally. His era was called an age of great peace. Great peace. After Ku, the throne passed to Yao, the model of the ancient sage king. He lived in a thatched hut, wore rough cloth, and ate simple food, yet devoted every thought to governing his people. The Yellow River flooded constantly. Yao sent a man named Gun to control the waters. But Gun tried to stop the floods by building dams. 9 years later, the floods were worse than ever. Yao's greatest legacy, however, was not what he built, but what he gave away. When he grew old, he refused to pass the throne to his own son. Instead, he searched for a man of true virtue and found a commoner named Shun to test him. Yao gave Shun his 2 daughters as wives, put him in charge of land and people, and observed him for 3 years. Satisfied that Shun was genuinely worthy, Yao handed over power. This is the story of the abdication of Yao and Shun, the gold standard of righteous leadership for all of Chinese history. Shun's background was heartbreaking. His father was blind. His stepmother and half-brother despised him and tried to kill him once, trapping him in a well and filling it with earth. He escaped through a hidden tunnel. Yet no matter how badly they treated him, Shun remained devoted to his family. That loyalty was exactly what Yao saw in him. Once in power, Shun accomplished 2 major things. First, he solved the flood crisis. He exiled Gun, who had failed, and sent Gun's son, the Great Yu, to finish the job. Yu dug channels to guide the floodwater out to sea. For 13 years, he traveled the land directing this massive project, so dedicated that he passed by his own home 3 times without going inside. The floods were finally tamed. Second, he reformed governance, removing incompetent leaders, promoting capable ones, and establishing China's first formal legal code. Order was restored. When Shun grew old, he followed Yao's example and passed the throne to Yu, the man who had conquered the floods. The 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors may not be single historical individuals. They are something greater, the collective memory of how the Chinese people grew from scattered tribes into a civilization. Archeological evidence backs much of it up. Ancient fire-making tools, Neolithic farming sites, early city ruins, and bronze objects from 4,000 years ago. These 7 figures are who we were at the very beginning.